a couple of more minutes for everyone to join. And it's nice to see so many friends and collaborators joining, even from Europe, despite the time. So let us wait a couple of more minutes because we have quite a busy agenda to start. Hey, Regine, it's really late in Istanbul, right?
Yes, it's midnight, but I'm so excited to
Midnight.
be here. Congratulations
Good.
to all involved.
Hi,
Welcome.
Regine.
Hi, Regine.
Hi.
While we wait, you can give a campaign speech.
Oh, yeah.
That would not be ethical, but all,
Oh, that
all
was a good
candidates are
campaign
great.
speech.
Let's say that. All
Smooth.
candidates are great.
Well, it's 6 o'clock here in Argentina now. And so let us wait 2 more minutes and then we can get started. We are about 29 people now, and yeah, probably more people joining. I think, Regine, you are probably the latest one, right? We always, when we do the retinoblastoma meetings, we give an award to the one that stays, that is late. I think you get it, right? It's midnight.
It seems
I think Regine and myself, Regine is 12 midnight, and for me in Spain is 10 o'clock. So
It's 10 o'clock.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite late
sorry
for
for the
Spain as
time,
well.
but
So right.
I think it's was considering the Latin American timeline and Julia's timeline for one time. Julia, you're in the in the right
It's
time.
a
You are not 5
historical
a.m. for
moment,
you.
so it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Okay, I think we are now. Well, people are like still entering the room. We are like almost 40 people joining. So thanks everybody to join. I think this is a very special moment for us. The SIOP Global Mapping program was conceived by Eric Buffet, that hopefully will join us today. And it was a big challenge. I am the third SIOP president taking this project, which is made of your work. It is not our work, it is your work, sharing with us the data, supporting us, supporting the project. I wouldn't say supporting us, supporting the project from your personal time, from your societies in your countries, from the SLAO. Everybody was involved, and I think this is the best thing of this proposal, that it was done by everybody, is owned by everybody. We all did it because we want things to get better and to use this data to improve the situation in our hospitals, in our settings, in our countries, to know better who we are, what we do, where we are. And so that's why it's a huge honor for me to be sharing with you this very special day when we have all this time after 4 years or 5 years, and now we can say we have the data, the first set of data online for everybody to see. So let me hand over to Andrea Capellano, who all of you know her very well. She's the president of the Latin American Society of Pediatric Oncology. Without the SLAOP's support, this project would never happen. So Andrea played a great role. Before Andrea, Liliana was SLAO president and also did a wonderful job recruiting people, stimulating people to participate. and I am very thankful of them. And I see Eric now that has joined. We mentioned you, Eric, that this project came from your head, from your brain, and it's such an honor for us to be sharing with the community, Latin American and the rest of the world community that is finally online, and it's a work in progress that we are very honored to have. So let me hand over to Andrea. She will say a few words, and then we will go to the presentation.
Thank you, Guillermo. I'm so honored to be here today to celebrate the launch of SIOP Global Mapping in Latin American data. This initiative marks a significant moment in our ongoing efforts to improve pediatric oncology care in our region. And the Global Mapping project is providing us with valuable insight to even understand the challenges and the opportunities in Latin America pediatric oncology. And this would never happen without some people involved, actually a lot of people involved, but I would like to congratulate some of them. Maite Gorostegui and Luisa Chantada, who work tirelessly collecting the data. Scott Howard and Jennifer Lowe for all the resonance support as a platform for the data. Isabelle Villadary on behalf of the important support from Foundation S. And of course, the SIOP crew, Julia Challinor, Regine Keburi as past and current General Secretary, our dearest Guillermo Chantada as our president, and on behalf of SIOP, who mentor and such incredible project, and of course, our dearest Eric Buffet. I would like also to acknowledge and send a special thanks to all the involvement of our delegates from each country member of the SLAOP, and also the national societies and its presidents. And there's so many other colleagues behind the scenes that we cannot say here, but played a vital role in this significant initiative. And however, this is just the beginning of an incredible project that will culminate in understanding pediatric oncology in the main continents of the world, and that's unbelievable. It's incredible. So I thank every one of you for allowing me to be here to participate in this beautiful moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for your words. It's really fascinating today being with more than 54 people now joining. We said that usually for SIOP activities, we usually have 1/3 of the people really participating compared to the number that have registered. And in Latin America, it seems not to be the case. It seems that it's more than 50% of the people that registered is participating now. So I feel very proud of being Latin American now. It's really an honor to see how complete the data we have thanks to your effort. And let us start with Maite and hear what Maite will show us on where we are now in the results of the global mapping in Latin America. Maite, over to you.
Thank you, Guillermo. Buenas tardes, good evening. It is a pleasure for me to share with you some of the data of the mapping in Latin America on behalf of the SIOP Global Mapping Program team. And as a Chilean pediatric oncologist, it's also a privilege to represent all of you, my colleagues from Latin America. So let's start. Just a minute here, moment. Okay, so I have nothing to disclose. As you all know, in 2018, the WHO launched this huge initiative to increase survival of children with cancer up to 60%. And in the same year, we as SIOP embarked on this project to map every facility treating children with cancer worldwide. Imagine that, every facility, every country. And at the same time, we were collecting all the essential information related to basic care. In doing that, we are able to maintain a map, to build a map, maintain the map that is dynamic. If the reality change, we can update the data. We can join forces and work together with other associations and organizations. And this is a tool. We can, along the time, use it to identify progress, challenges, etc. We have 10 SIOP core questions trying to identify basic things. I will explain a bit better. And for Latin America, Guillermo had the idea last year to add a specific question because he knows very well the region that he thought that will add more understanding in the direction of the GICC. The 10 core questions are questions like, how many patients are you treating per year? How is childhood cancer care funded? Who is paying? Do you have palliative care? Do the children have access to chemotherapy in a way that is continuous, or sometimes you don't have some chemos? Do the children have access to radiotherapy, surgery? Who is operating? A pediatric surgeon? And about the team, do you have a pediatric oncologist, or is a pediatrician in some cases? And about the nurses, do they have enough time to work with the children, or do they need to split the time with other boards? And this is the essential information we are collecting. And then we have these additional questions. And if you think they are very relevant for South America, for instance, do you have a pediatric cancer law? So if you think that we are in many countries working in the direction of the GICC, this is essential. What about tumor registry? You know that in many countries, there are some registries, but they reach a hospital level, like biggest hospital are working with registry, but it's not a national registry. What about a national pediatric cancer control program? Support for diagnosis and complete treatment. And also, if you think long time, the question of, do you have the possibility to train your people and that this become an oncologist is also crucial. So this kind of question we were asking. And here you see that the mapping in Latin America was a success, and we are bringing here good news. And this was not because us, this was because Latin America is very well organized. And if you think that the Latin America Pediatric Oncology Society was founded in 1879, you see that there is a long tradition of oncology in the continent. So there are one delegate per country that help us, and also the national societies, and was possible to identify one facility, one contact, one reply, and avoid any duplications. And we had also the help of an extraordinary doctor, Luisa Chantada, that was working every day non-stop, collecting all the data. And recently we have a doctor from Colombia, Jennifer Serrano, that also is working the data. And you see here that the first paper trying to summarize this experience, the methodology, is already done. You will read it I think in short time. And this week we submitted the second one, trying to explain this experience with additional questions. We can discuss at the end of the presentation about these matters. So we have more than 200 institutions treating children with cancer in Latin America. This is not a fixed number. as a matter of fact, the day before yesterday, we received another institution, and this is changing. We are reviewing also the data because it can happen that we need to upload some institutions that are not ready in the map. We are working on this. But what I can say is that most of the institutions are already mapped. And from the SLAOP country, almost all of them participate, with the one exception of Cuba, that they didn't share data. And here you see, and Jennifer from Resonance and Scott will explain better, but just to have an idea, this is the map, and every sign here is a facility. This is amazing because it's when you see this, and this is from Mexico, Tijuana, to Argentina, Tierra del Fuego. And here, additionally, you can see the previous work with Africa with more than 100 institutions. This information is amazing because it's the first time that we have this data in front of us. And here, a bit of information for you. This is about the specific question, and here is about the cancer law. And you see that most of the countries in Latin America do have a pediatric cancer law, but still there is work to do. And then I will show you here, this is about the National Cancer Control Program. You see here that there are a dark green, and here you have a light one. And this is because in Latin America, there are countries with a long tradition with oncology programs like Argentina, Chile, Brazil. And now it's very interesting because something is happening in Latin America, and new countries are having national programs. And these are very, very good news, like Peru, for instance. And here, as I mentioned before, is the possibility to train our doctors that they become a pediatric oncologist. In most of the countries in Latin America, you can do your training. You see here is almost all green. But I can also tell you that sometimes in some countries, the number of doctors that can apply for this program is limited. So it's not satisfying the whole demand, but still we can say in most of the countries this possibility exists. So for us, mapping Latin America, as I said before, it was a success. It's a process that is not finished. We will work the data, and we hope to use them. And this is not only a collection. It doesn't make sense. Is all when all is in the computer. We want to work with you, to think together, work with institutions, and do more projects. And about Resonance platform, it will be impossible to do this work without this great platform, but I will leave this information for Jennifer or Scott because they are coming after me, after this presentation. And we, as a team in the Global Mapping Program, we see that this work has a tremendous potential. And we are seeing this every week because many people is getting in contact with us, sharing new ideas or things that we can do. And for me today, I think I will share with you that we are trying to start a new project in collaboration with IPSO and SLAOP. We have a sergeant from Bolivia that is working with us, and we thought that it will be great if we could map the availability of central lines to receive chemotherapy worldwide, starting in Latin America. And to finish, I will say that and highlight that this is the first effort to map all childhood cancer facilities worldwide that the data are almost complete, but as I said, we will continue to work with them. There are errors that are inherent to data collection, but we are aware of this and we put all our effort to avoid them. And also things that we are thinking of that we know that institution availability doesn't mean accessibility. We know if we can map the facility, but the families not always can access this and start treatment or maintain the treatment. And treatment abandonment, that is so important, was not addressed in the global mapping, but is a thing that we keep on mind and we hope to work with other partners. And to end, these are not my words. This is from Julia Challinor sending us motivation in our emails that we exchanged. She said that maps are data, but maps tell stories. They are living, and mapping is a powerful tool to make the what we think we know into what we actually document. And it's a point of a start to do great things together. So thank you very much. Thank you to you, to your help, because without you, it will be impossible. And thank you to Foundation S for the ongoing support.
Thank you, Maite. Great presentation. Congratulations. And before we move on to the next presentation, I'd like to share a few words from a key person in the mapping program. Is Jennifer Geel from South Africa. Jennifer cannot be with us today. She has no electricity power tonight, but she sent us a message saying congratulations for a mammoth task conducted with such dedication. Hopefully the data will be translated into real change for patients. So Jennifer is also a key person in this project. So let me move on to the next presentation, where you will actually see the map, the functionality, the accessibility of the map at the Resonance platform. And Jennifer Lowe and Scott Howard will share with us this facility that is now available for you.
Yes, thanks so much. It's so exciting to finally be here. And Scott, of course, is on the call as well, and hopefully will chime in on anything I miss. But it's very exciting to finally have reached this point. And you've heard a few people say this, and I think Guillermo said it first a few days ago in an email, but we feel like the map is not a final product. It's a living map. It's a living product. And so that's what we're hopefully going to emphasize throughout when we speak today, is that this is just the beginning, not the end. So we'll go through a few examples of that. So obviously you've seen that the map is now live as of maybe yesterday or even today. So you can access the map two ways. It's on the SIOP Global Mapping website, and it's also on the Residence Global Mapping page of the website. So there's two ways that you can access the map. And currently, as you saw from the image on Maite's page, you can see the data from LATAM as well as the data that was collected previously in Africa. That's what's currently being displayed, but there's more data, of course, being collected all the time from Asia and beyond, and that data is going to be updated as it comes in, so the map will be updated monthly. So if you're thinking, oh, but I've already given my data and I'm in a different place, but why isn't it on the map? That will be coming soon. What does the map display? I'm going to show you in just a second. But what you see when you click on your little dot on the map is you're going to see the hospital name, the city, the country, and then if you provided a website or a Facebook page, that's there as well. The other data that you provided will not display on the map. So all the other information that was collected is not going to be displayed on the map. So I'm just going to quickly switch screens and show what the actual map looks like. Here we go. So this is the Residence website, and you can see the exact same thing on the SIOP website. So this is a image of the map. And if you want to try to find whether your site is on the map, of course, you can scroll around and look if you know exactly how to pinpoint it. But you can also click on this little sidebar here on the side of either website, and you can click on the drop down. And then you can search just like you would on any website page. So if I searched for the name of my hospital, then I would be able to locate it that way. Once I click on the name of that hospital, I'd be able to see the information that's displayed. So I could check if the website that was entered is correct or any other information. So if you want to see whether your hospital is on the map, that's how you can do it. And it will zoom into that location on the site. So the first step to knowing if your information is there is to go and check out the website and to see it that way. Let me just go back to my presentation. If you find that your center is not included and you're from Latin America or from Africa, you should contact Maite and she will help make sure that your data is collected and that your center can be included on the map. Of course, if you're from other regions that haven't been mapped yet, then you'll be getting, she'll be getting in touch with you, not the other way around. How do you access your data? So if you provided your data, you should have received an invitation to access your data that you provided from residents. And so you can see on the right-hand side here, that's what that little email would look like. And there's a place to accept the invitation. And when you accept the invitation, you'll create a password because all of your information is safe and password protected. But if you missed that email, it might have gone a couple of months ago, maybe you missed it, maybe it went to your spam folder, then you can contact us at support@residencehealth.org and we'll help make sure that you get a new email and make sure that you get access to it if you're having any problems. What if you want to make corrections? If your center is already included in the map, but you think that some of the information is incorrect, or maybe you want to update it, you want to add Facebook to the page or something like that. You can submit corrections using the button at the top of the Residence Global Mapping page. You might have seen that when I scrolled to it. It looks like this. It says submit corrections. And there's two things that could happen. If you are the person that provided the information in the first place, that means you're an administrator of your site. So you can correct the data yourself once you accept that invite that we sent you. If you're part of that site, but you are not the one who provided the data in the first place, then we can work with you to connect with the administrator so that they can make the corrections, or they may be able to give you access so you can correct the information yourself. But you can contact us through the submit corrections button and we'll help you through that process. The living SIOP map. So what's next? As Maite already alluded to, this is not the end. You own your data. So what can you do with it now? So first you can update it. So you could add additional users if you wanted. You could update it over time if things change, if your information changes. And you can complete additional modules, as Maite said. You can also bring your group to the map. So you can invite others to work with you to add their centers to the map. So if you notice that your information is there, but there may be people that are missing that you know about that treat children with cancer, you should definitely invite them to participate in adding their data to the map. That could be if you're part of a professional society, research group, regional or national network, then you definitely should invite them to participate in being part of the map. You can also build your own project. So like we said, you should leverage this data the best way that you can. You never want to collect data twice. I'm going to show you an example of that in just a second, what that can look like. And we also, of course, encourage that you should join future projects. So if someone else decides to build their own project and leverage the data, you can opt in to receive invitations to participate in future projects without having to duplicate the data entry. So what could that look like? Once the data is entered into Resonance, it can automatically be used for other projects without having to enter the data twice. So you might recognize, or you will if you enter into Resonance, an agreement like this. So this explains the purpose of the SIOP Global Mapping. If you decided to do another project, you could create a similar agreement that says what the purpose of the data is for, where it will be displayed, and who to contact if they have questions. If you wanted to do another project, you could create this kind of agreement, and anyone who clicks I agree would be able to share their data with you without having to enter it a second time. So that's the magic of using a system like this. Lastly, this is an example of how you can use the power of this kind of tool. So if you imagine this to be the SIOP Global Mapping questions, we collected questions in each of these categories. Now imagine you want to collect questions about neuroblastoma, but you also, of course, want to know about whether they have radiology, they have surgery, they have facility demographics. You only need to add questions about neuroblastoma specifically because all of this information about the facility is already captured. If you move on to capturing questions about nursing, again, all of this data is already captured and you can just add the nursing questions. So it's a living, breathing form that you can continue to add to, but without ever replicating the data that's already available and has already been collected. So you can imagine whatever kind of project you want without having to duplicate efforts and without having to burden either yourself by creating more work or by burdening a site by having to collect work more than once. I know we're out of time, but Scott, do you have anything you'd like to add here before we finish?
Yeah, so I was super happy to see Maite's second to last slide, which showed the surgeons working on a central venous access project, because 80% of that collection is going to be stuff that's already here. So when that site just says yes, they'll just have to fill in the 20% new questions about central venous line use and who puts in the line and whatever other things they're asking about. So it'll be like one of those little green bars there. And just last week, somebody from the Global Neuroblastoma Network actually said, we're trying to find out who has access to MIBG scans and to certain neuroblastoma diagnostics. So once again, I always thought it was painful that everybody sends you a survey and the first 30 questions are the same and the last 5 questions are different. Wouldn't it be nice to have the first 30 already stored and you just put in the 5 things about neuroblastoma or the 3 things about central venous access or the 7 things about the nurse training program, and then you got the whole thing done. So I hope and really wish that everybody who's working on any aspect of supportive care, disease-specific care, neurosurgery, anything, the door is open from SIOP to help support those projects and make sure we can always be on the map.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Jennifer and Scott. This is really outstanding. The way that it really could, we really could make it, and then it's whoever is thinking what my hashtag means is open to collaboration, right? I think this is a project that is made for collaboration, and it's please come with your ideas, with your proposals. This is the start of the effort, and this is really a great tool. So let me move on to the next presentation that will be their help was their support was really mentioned by all of the speakers. This project is possible because of the support of Foundation S. So Isabelle Villadary is going to show us how Foundation S is supporting SIOP and supporting this project, and also the big program that this My Chat Matters program is running, and also the mapping of all the projects that are being launched at Foundation S. So thank you very much for staying so late, Jennifer, and thank you, sorry, Jennifer, Isabelle, and thank you again for all your support to this and compromise for this project. So the floor is yours, Isabelle.
Thank you, Guillermo. Buenas tardes, everybody. Hello, bonjour, tout le monde. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be with you today and it's our pleasure to support this global mapping. And I was thinking that I love the spirit of collective work that you all share, the collective work, and that's only because of the collective. And Foundation S, the collective Sanofi, is exactly that. And so it's thanks to the collective that we are today around the table to celebrate the online launch. And the other thought is exactly what you mentioned, Scott, that on one hand, we celebrate the achievement of this tremendous work since several years, starting with Africa and now in Latin America, with a goal in the future to go to Asia. And this collective work is for the benefit of the children. And in the other hand, on a daily life, we are all working to make this global mapping wrong the day after. We are improving the capacities, we are training new people, we are increasing the number of facilities. And that's exactly the game that, and we need, and another point is that we need to stay tuned with this global mapping and to keep it updated. And our goal is to make it wrong the day after, thanks to all the capacities that we all together will put in place in the countries where we are living. So yes, I am Isabelle Villadary. I am pleased to lead at Foundation S the program called My Child Matters, which is the cornerstone program for Foundation S. And Foundation S, my slides, yeah. So what is Foundation S? Foundation S is a philanthropic entity of Sanofi. And Foundation S do have one mandate, is to create a healthier future for the generations to come. And we have three, at Foundation S, we have three commitments. One is on childhood cancer, and that's in the frame of this My Child Matters program. We also have a program on health and health resilience due to climate change with local projects that can address this big issue. And we also have, with a partner in Geneva, program in neglected tropical disease, especially on sleeping sickness. And on top of that, in case of crisis, and there are a lot of crises around the world, we also have a cross-cutting initiative in order to provide humanitarian aid and medicine or vaccine donation in case of emergency. Coming back to childhood cancer, so what is My Child Matters program? It is a cornerstone initiative of Foundation S, and it has, the inception is in 2005 with a huge performance and impact since the inception, with more than 140,000 children reached thanks to My Child Matters, and close to 50,000 healthcare professionals that have been trained. Since the inception of Foundation S, which was mid-2022, and thanks to the support of the high-level global expert committee, and we have our chairman, Eric Bouffet here, and also Guillermo, you are part of this, and also Julia. We start working since 2 years, almost 2 years from now. And since this new step of a new project that are ongoing in partnership with 31 organizations across the three strategic pillar that you see. One is pediatric care with palliative care, pain management or access to care, with family support. So all projects related to treatment abandonment, and healthcare strengthening, which is about early diagnosis or healthcare professional training. So that's what we are doing at Foundation S with My Child Matters. And we also created a digital solution with a platform, an open data platform, where we can showcase our put in under the spot the partner or the grantees that are within My Child Matters program. And here I choose the page with the global partner, and as you see there, we do have several global partners, and one of our strategic partners is the SIOP by definition, with different dimensions that I will describe. And this open data platform is also up-to-date or real-time open data platform where you can see the project, you can see the progression of the project, you can connect with the project that are part of the My Chan Matters program. And I will finish with our strategic partnership and historical partnership with the SIOP, which take 3 dimensions. So one dimension is to do our best to allow scholarship and to allow healthcare professionals, nurses, pediatric oncologists to join training, and especially the annual congress or the CCI conference. So that's the scholarship and event dimension. Another dimension that probably you know is that SIOP is leading a very important program for advancing research capacity in low and middle income countries. So we at Foundation S wanted to be part of this new projects several since 2022, and also the global mapping that started with Africa, and now we are pleased to be part of the celebration of the global mapping online launch in Latin America. And to finish, I think that you already mentioned this. For me, this global mapping project is start a few years ago, but we are on the pathway of this project, and it's, you mentioned Guillermo, you mentioned Eric. It came out from Eric's brain, and these ideas generates a project, and from this project there are several activities that have been done in Africa, and now we are in Latin America, and I know that you already start in Asia. And it also the opportunity to welcome new players, and I think that several mentions the Resonance who came into the game. I think that potentially it will come in the conversation, because within the high-level expert committee where we follow this project at Foundation S, and you regularly, on behalf of the team and all the people who contribute to this global mapping, you share with us, Guillermo, the status since 2 years, and we exchange several questions, how we can simplify the work for the teams without losing the level of granularity that we are expecting from this global mapping, how we ensure regular update of this global mapping. And the third question that raised in the conversation is how we maintain and we ensure the quality check of the data that are within this. So that's, I wanted to share the conversation that we had at the expert committee, and potentially Eric, yourself, or Julia will comment afterwards. So, and all of these comments are to support, the next step and the perspective of these projects in the future. So how to support the transition to a new ambition for this global mapping. So with that, I will thank you for the invitation. I will give you the floor back. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isabelle. Great words. And again, I'm really thankful for your support and Foundation S. And I'd like to invite Eric to say a few words. We mentioned Eric many times. It is a project that came from his brain. And I'd really like to thank you, Eric, for all the support. And I'd like, if possible, to have a few words from you, please.
Thank you, Guillermo. So good afternoon, good evening, everyone. First, I have an Excel sheet with all the countries I went to, and I feel ashamed because South America is not really top of the list. I have been in 2 countries in South America, in Brazil, and to see Andrea several times, and in Peru as well, but no other countries. So yes,
Awesome.
Montevideo as well for the SIOP meeting. So I still have a lot to do on my list. I want to tell you a few words about this journey, because it wasn't an easy journey initially when we started to discuss within the SIOP group. Scott was the secretary, and we had many discussions, and there was some enthusiasm, but there was also a lot of pushback. And when we first contacted WHO, they say, we have all the data. We have all the data of pediatric oncology around the world. And we say, show the data. And they say, you ask the government and they know everything about. So we decided to start it from the bottom up and just to contact the center. And really, I need to acknowledge a number of people here because the team was absolutely fantastic. First, Anne Gagnepin, because she was wonderful. She had a great support. This was My Child Matters. She was the one before Isabelle, and they are just like twin sisters. It was absolutely fantastic to see the support and the enthusiasm. And then there were a team of people already mentioned. Julia was there, Scott was there, but also Jennifer Geel, Neil Ranasinghe, fantastic advocate and support, and Laila Sisson, who was the chair of the SIOP Africa committee. But we wanted to do this for not only just to describe, but also as a tool, and a tool for in many aspects, a tool for advocacy, for example, to say, we don't have enough resources. When you go and meet with people, they say, oh, you have enough. You can see kids on, every picture, a child with cancer. You don't need any more. And so this tool just is a way to say, we don't have enough, or to show that there has been no improvement in the number of centers, in the number of physicians. And so this is a weapon, if you wish, and a tool that can be used just to say, we need more because kids are very important in our lives. Another way I use it, and I tell you, it's just absolutely fantastic. There are countries where there is nothing. I remember South Sudan, now Afghanistan, and when I get the call from Afghanistan, I get email from Afghanistan for kids with tumor, I don't know, Hodgkin's disease or not always brain tumors. But because of the mapping, I know the centers around. And it's not yet on the map, but have been used just to look at this. And I send the kids, or with the help of institutions, to Pakistan and to Iran. And this is also a way we can think of this as a community. You know people, you have friends there, and you can direct to the specialists or the people you think are the most appropriate to help the child. So I think we still have a lot to learn about this. To include CCI is going to be also a fantastic addition. And I think when we started, we had no idea of how this would go, but I really thank and want to acknowledge the support of the My Child Matter program in this context, and the tremendous support from SIOP. And I know that Suzanne is online. Suzanne has been absolutely phenomenal also here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eric. Yes, in fact, Suzanne's and Ilya Tess's support it's really being really critical for this project. Also, Kathy made a huge effort during her presidency. So it's really a teamwork. I really enjoy every minute of it. Maybe we mentioned a lot of times Julia and Neil, and also there are others. For example, I see Liliana and Soad are joining us, and they are working very hard in Bajo, and much of this what we show is their work. And what you saw in Maite's maps, the pediatric oncology programs in countries, the pediatric oncology laws, etc. That is thanks to Liliana and Soad, and the support also from St. Jude Global Alliance. So this is really so nice to see how Latin America is coming together. So Julia and Neil, would you like to give any some perspective from your side? You were in the process from the very first minute.
Let me give the microphone to Neil because he really was there early days. Go, Neil. Yeah, there's a couple of things I'd like to say. So thanks for the kind word to everyone. But the first thing I'd say is the title of this event is the launch of the mapping in Latin America. But we've been in Latin America and we've been supported by people in Latin America for years now. You guys have been doing a lot of very, very hard work in collecting data, and especially Louisa. So today is a special day launching the map, but it's just one step along the way of just sort of a great achievement. And secondly, I think at the beginning when we started this project, I kept bringing it up and people sort of humored me. It was difficult to really see what the benefit was, but now we're still really starting to see what the benefit is, and we're seeing organizations, national societies coming to SIOP saying, where's the data, or we want to use this data, or we want to work with you. So we're really seeing the medium and long-term benefits. So, I mean, it's such a pleasure to be involved, and it's great to have this event today and launching of the map. So thank you very much. So over to you, Julia.
Okay, I just have a couple of points that I think have been made, but I want to emphasize. It really sounds easy. Just send out a survey and get people to answer 10 questions. But honestly, these sites are so busy, and getting the right answer to the question, having it interpreted correctly, is much harder than you think it is. And I think Isabelle put her finger on it. We hope to be obsolete the minute we get a data point, because we discovered we would say, okay, this is the number in this continent. And then the next day somebody would say, they just opened a new unit in such and such country. Oh no, okay, now we got to go ask them the questions. So when Scott says it's a living, breathing, and Jennifer Lowe too, exercise, we decided to change our name from project to program. It's a living program. It's only as good as the data that goes in. And we're also learned the hard lesson. If you ask two people the same question, you can get a very different answer, even if the question is, how many beds do children with cancer have? You can get many, many answers. So it's all in how they interpret the word beds. So we've learned a lot. We've been really grateful for the support from Foundation S, which allows us to do these double checks and going back again and triangulating, and Guillermo. But also I think the strength of this has been SIOP too, because we know we're fortunate to be a small community. We can pick up the phone and call somebody and say, we don't understand why you're not in here. Or we think there's a question with your data that might not be exactly accurate. So it's also people. It's not just computers and data, it's also people. And I think that makes us a really strong initiative. So thanks to everyone that's contributed or can get a friend to contribute. We're really grateful. It's a big team, but it's a big effort.
Thank you very much, Julia and Neil, for your kind words and your perspective. This project was you were really a huge part of this. May I ask to Liliana and Soad, from the perspective from the PAHO, if you we were very close for the second paper that from Global Mapping in Latin America that we submitted the day after, yes, yesterday or on Monday. So we are working very close with PAHO, and I think this synergy was really instrumental for this project. So can you make some comments on how this data could be supporting your work at PAHO, and how can we make further steps for supporting what PAHO, the great work PAHO is doing?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Guillermo, and thank you for the invitation to this amazing event. It's great to be here with so many friends, and perhaps I can just give a couple of points and then Soad can also elaborate a little bit more. But I'm very, very excited about the launch of this SIOP-SLAOP mapping tool. I think there's a lot of potential, as many of you have already appointed, for being a resource that we can use in the region in several projects. I think you could, as Julia was also mentioning, it's not only a a survey, but it's a map, it's a living map, and it could we could use all the data to help governments as well, to guide them in public health decision making. I think for me, there's a lot of potential to use it in several Curled Americas projects. As you know, from on behalf of the GACC, we are working with several countries, with some governments to strengthen the childhood cancer programs in the region. And we acknowledge all this important collaboration from all the SLAOP delegates of the countries that make this happen as a collaborative effort. So I think there's a tremendous potential. I take note of this hashtag open to collaboration because at the GACC, I think it would be an important tool. As a regional level, I think there's a lot of uses that we can, collaborate further with the GCC, with PAHO and the Curled Americas, perhaps to include, and I also think Eric is very right when he says that we need the data from each other. I mean, WHO could have some data, PAHO could have some data, but definitely we do not have all the data. And we need to work together to, to complement to work together on this effort. And as a regional effort, I think it would be very interesting to use as an epidemiological tool, perhaps to include some of these important variables that Maite was mentioning, the national cancer, childhood cancer programs that are already in development or already developed in the region, the access to diagnosis and treatment, the availability of the registry for pediatric cancer, the training programs for pediatric oncologists. I mean, that is so important to visibilize for me, to the governments, to the decision makers, to the policy makers, to use all the opportunities to show this data. I also like the idea of Edith, totally agree with the idea of including the NGOs, the foundations, right? Because I think it is a collective work, and we need to acknowledge that, and we all know that together we can, move forward on this common goal. And also another point that I wanted to mention was as a sub-regional effort, because as PAHO and the GACC, we're working very hard with some sub-regional networks. For example, in South America with the Andean sub-region, and some networks that are part of several countries in the region. And there are several ideas that we have been discussing with Guillermo, with Julia, with Andrea, to include some indicators like abandonment of treatment, like early detection, that we have worked a lot last year within this Andean project with Claudia Sampor, that is already here also. And also a new project that we're trying to achieve about transplantation, led by Julia Palma as well. But I think there's a lot of potential that we can, use all this data from the SIOP-SLAOP mapping, and also the data that we have at PAHO, and also a living tool that we could use all the information from the governments, from the decision makers, from the hospital teams, from the NGOs and others. And I think there's a tool that combines many important aspects, as the monitoring, the policies that are very important for our work at PAHO, the GACC, and also I like the programs that Maite was mentioning, because I truly believe that the possibility to have a solid program, childhood cancer program, is a key aspect of success in moving forward on childhood cancer and public health. So I don't know, Soad, if you have something to comment as well.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you can hear me, but thank you very much for this amazing tool. I think that Lily has said some points that are really important, but also I consider that the global mapping tool is going to be very useful to set up a baseline for each of the countries that are in the global mapping. And I think that this is an important tool that is going to allow you to monitor and evaluate improvement through all the process and interventions that we are doing as a QROL implementation of the technical package of QROL in each of the countries that are part of the Global Initiative for Cancer. And besides, I think that it will allow us to also has a sense of projects like to improve cancer registries. We were talking about how important it is to identify through global mapping how many countries really have a high quality of data in hospital-based cancer registry that will allow to fill up the population-based cancer registry to have better data on mortality and survival. I think that there are so many useful interventions that global mapping will allow us to work. So thank you very much for this great initiative and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Soad, for the support. And I briefly saw Wendy around. So so hi to my friends in Ahopka. Hey, Wendy. Yeah, so it's great that you join us. I know this is the week in Ahopka in Memphis. So thank you. We are on time. Maybe if we had a couple of questions in the chat, but I think we went through them. There was a question about the participation of parental organizations that was already mentioned a couple of times. Also, Neil made a point of acknowledging the support from Alan Davidson, who was really instrumental in the very beginning of the project, in the work in Africa especially. And we are just on time. Maybe this is just the beginning again. Feel free to reach out. You are going to see much more in the next few days when the data are matched and new centers will appear in the map. But again, feel free to reach out, think how this program, how this data can help you in your projects, and reach out to us. It will be a great honor for us that you find this project useful for your everyday practice and yours and the great things that everyone is doing in their countries. I think we come to the end. Is anyone like to make any other comments or? Yes, Julia, please.
Guillermo,
Go ahead.
can I make a quick question? This is the first time we have had subtitles in Spanish. And if people would be willing to say yes in the chat if they think it's helpful, or no, it's not necessary, it would give us some quick feedback to know if this is a good idea or we should forget it.
Okay,
Just if you
that's a
have
great
time when
point.
you're signing off, it would be great to tell us, yes, sí, si se quiere que es bueno, o no, no es necesario, solo, okay, gracias, Pia, already, we just need some feedback, yes or not necessary, thanks.
That's great. That's great. And before we go, I also like to thank Oscar Gonzalez Ramella, who I see his big effort to join, to collect all the Mexican data, which is probably almost 1/3 of all the data we have. So thank you, Oscar, for your great support. Okay, guys, thank you very much again. You will hear more from us. We submitted the second paper yesterday. We're going to submit in a couple of months the third paper with the census data, and we are going to reach out to you surely for the data. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you,
Looking forward for
Guillermo.
more.
Thank you all. Great to
Thank
see
you
you.
all.
Here's a hug from Memphis.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Gracias.
I will see you in
Yeah.
Guadalajara for the next lab.
Yes.
Yes. Muchas
Thank you.
gracias.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.